the fun.
Hey there, welcome to this episode of Mindful Mamas. I'm your host, Molly Ann Luna, coming at you from Los Angeles, California. And today, my guest is Lynne Newman. She's a registered occupational therapist and an incredible mommy mentor, plus, a boatload of other extraordinary things. But today, she is with me, and we're going to talk about the topic of letting go of perfect. So, Lynne, welcome. Thank you so much for being on today's episode.
Thank you. It's nice to be here and totally appreciate everyone for listening.
Yes. So tell me, a little bit about your story and your background and how you got into this avenue of work.
Yeah. So I think in 2007 when I got married, I wanted a baby. I knew I always wanted to be a mom and to create another human being with the person you love, right? Like it's so special. And I knew that I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, which means that I don't necessarily ovulate, and if you don't ovulate, then you have trouble conceiving. Anyway, long story short, it took a couple years. Fertility monitoring, that kind of thing. Started to change my lifestyle, my diet. Got pregnant twice, lost those pregnancies, which were really, really hard. But I believed in something like greater, was guiding us, molding us as the baby was molding us as his or her new parents, right? Then I got pregnant, super happy, and my husband was diagnosed with cancer. So that was, hugely like, okay, you do what you have to do, right? You're pregnant, husband with cancer, okay. Anyway, so that was in 2009. I had a beautiful home birth. I did everything I could to sort of create the birth that I wanted. And I'm very grateful that I had that experience while my husband was healing from radiation. He had just finished radiation up until that point. Anyway, then I went through a wrongful dismissal after maternity leave as an occupational therapist with a private clinic. I was shocked. Ended up they were super sketchy and all this stuff, but it motivated me to go further into pediatrics and do my own thing. I was like, I can't deal with this shit. Right? There's a pocket of people that I want to serve that could benefit from the resources and the experience and that I have, right? As an occupational therapist, from professional experience and from personal experience. I had just gone through all this fertility, the birth, new motherhood, and I felt like, there's a pocket of us that's extra support. So I started my own practice supporting women who are highly sensitive, just feel overloaded, and help them simplify and get to the core of what matters and just give permission to say no and to reduce that schedule or whatever it is, Yeah. So that's a lot in a nutshell. That's not overwhelming. Yeah.
Wow. So you had been having infertility issues. You finally get pregnant again, and for most women, it would be a really joyful, joyous time. Like, let's prepare for this baby to be. Mm-hmm. And then you get hit with some heavy, heavy news about your husband. And now, on top of not only dealing with maybe your own fears of, will this pregnancy stick this time? Will this baby actually come forth? Mm-hmm. And having to attend all of those prenatal appointments, you're also attending your husband's radiation and really being there to support and help him through a very challenging time for both of you, but, when your health is not optimal. And then to give birth and be hit with this, I don't even know how you put it, because I've never heard that term before, I'll be honest, but what did you call it? A wrongful...
Oh, the wrongful dismissal after maternity leave. Yeah, so after my year, so everything had changed in my life, right? Like my husband, he was gone through depression, anxiety, induced from medication that he was on, heavy drugs, new motherhood, and we had moved, bought a new house in the city in Toronto where we live, and all I wanted was to go back to something familiar, to my old job as an occupational therapist in this private clinic that I worked at with people with brain injuries after car accidents. And they said, they just kind of Anyway, yeah, so I was wrongfully dismissed after maternity leave, meaning that they were just completely, they thought I was entitled to my job back, and then they just said, they were saying, oh, we have cuts, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, they just kept the person that they hired, replaced me with on maternity leave, who had a lower salary.
Mm.
So they were in the wrong, right? It's a clear cut case. Yeah. So, yeah. So I
So
was, and then I was pregnant the second time. I actually got pregnant really easy, which was good, but then scrambling, nauseous to find more work, a second job, right? Yeah. Or,
wow.
yeah.
So talk about, excuse my language, being hit with the shitstorm, and really being forced to let go of that idea of being the perfect mother, right? Because now you are just I'm sure you're doing everything that you can for your babies and your baby to be, and for your husband, and doing what you thought was right and in your best interest with taking leave to help care for your family, and then coming back into work to be that ideal and perfect employee.
Mhm.
And then it's just like one thing after another that's tearing down that story of perfect. How were you able to, come through it on the other side? Because you show up today, you're glowing. You obviously, that was like a rough time in your life, but it doesn't appear to be the issue anymore. And you stand here to be this empowered, beautiful woman who is now stepping up and teaching other women, how to own that. How does a person transition through that?
So yeah, it's definitely a transition. I don't want anyone, if you're in that situation where like things are like so shitty, like divine storm, whatever, if you will. Shit happens, right? And none of us can escape it. I think for me, what helps is knowing through that journey that it's because I used to think, why us? Why again? For us, it was accumulation of events. Like there was a lot of stuff that happened in a really short amount of time. Um, so it was knowing that I'm not defined, like the gifts in that now, and I could kind of know it then, like this was a catalyst for change. So I think there's an inner knowing and a trust that like is huge. If you can tap into that things will be okay no matter what, however it happened, like yes, it's hard, but things will be okay, right? Like knowing that you are more than these things that happen, right? Like it's not how you expect it to be. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to think of like what I think knowing that I'm not defined by the amount of money I have or my title or my job or my birth experience or ABC, whatever it is for you, right? That we are so much more than that. We're like divine lights and like whole beings, whatever you believe or whatever. But like, yeah. Um, and then really for me, it was like permission. And again, it's an ongoing process, like being compassionate and finding like permission to cry, to say it's hard or to ask for help. I think especially as moms, like new moms or whatever, any kind of mom, you realize like you try and do it all, but you can maybe have it all, but you can't necessarily do it all. You definitely need a team of people, right? Whether it's neighbors and friends and hey, I need help, come walk the dog, or can she come play here while I go to the appointment, or you know?
Yeah. I love I love how you said that it's about, getting back to your truth and understanding that you are not defined by the circumstances or the events or the perceptions of others looking into your life, but that these sequence of events maybe are unfolding. While it could be difficult during that time frame, they're unfolding for a greater plan, for a greater life lesson. And
Mm-hmm.
so just to be in that power, to give yourself permission to just do something, as it seems simple, but I know so many women struggle with this, is just allow yourself to just go into your room, close the door, and just have a good cry. Let all of that emotion and that energy rock through you. And know that when you're done with that session, like, you're still going to be standing strong with your head held high. And I think that that's an important message for women, to just have the permission to feel what you need to feel, and then give yourself some grace and have some compassion for yourself, and trust that you really are making the best decisions and choices for you, for your family, for your employee, no matter what. Even if it just feels like this crazy shitstorm of events, you
Yeah.
are still doing the best that you can, and that's all that can ever be asked of you. So give yourself permission to let go of that perfect imagery of what's a perfect mom, so to
Yeah,
speak.
totally. And then two things. So one, and you're doing your best varies, right? It vary, like your best will vary depending on how much sleep and stress that you have in your life. Like it can vary from like hour to hour, or day to day. So, because sometimes I think that's like, it's like, well, but before I had kids or before this, I used to be able to do this, this, and that, right? Where when you're going through, even just like simple, well, not simple, I shouldn't, sorry, not simple, but just like transitioning to becoming a mom, that's huge transition and like huge change. And some people, might be totally okay in the beginning, some people not, but not to compare and just totally like look at what, like you're saying, the compassion, the permission piece. And yeah, and then the simplicity, I would say that's where simplicity is really beautiful. I'm like simplicity parenting coach, and bringing it into like with my birth clients and stuff is because you need time and space to be able to reflect and to be aware of your thoughts, because sometimes you might not, there might be so much going on that you can't even like tap into your inner wisdom, you know what I mean, like your intuition, and you don't know, right? It's like, well, I don't know. But if you can just kind of, do you know what I mean, like simplify and create that time to just, right, like soften a bit, then it can get quiet enough for you to hear what your gut is telling you. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, but I just have the question of how. How does somebody, like yourself, who was dealing with your firstborn coming into the world, dealing with your husband having health issues, dealing with not knowing what's happening with your work and what that means for your income and for just you, even your creative expression outlet, and also dealing with this new identity of now I'm mom on top of it all. The how, when you have all that crazy stuff swirling around, do you keep it simple?
Well, yeah, simple doesn't mean easy.
Okay, we need to clarify that because I'm thinking like, what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So simple doesn't mean easy, but simple. So for me, it meant simplifying meant aligning. So for what really mattered to me was for me to heal. So I actually moved on. So I had found work after my second. I know there's just like a lot going on here. So like after I had my two kids, I went back to work. So I was working with kids in pediatrics. And after 8 months, I burnt out because, new mom, two kids, husband's still, with cancer, and it had spread and come back, and it's advanced cancer. The baby, the second one, was 6 months old. I had postpartum. Anyway, it keeps going on and on and on. It's crazy. So again, every situation is unique. For me, it was extreme. So I had to give myself permission and time and space to move on from my work. So I had time to heal. I couldn't do it, like the mental energy to like support and see 20, 25 families a week who are going through their own crisis stuff, right? And I was their therapist. I I couldn't, right? I love my work and I love my job, but I needed for me and for them to like give that, and for my girls and my husband. What I realized is that if I really, from a deep down in my bones, if I don't take care of myself and I get sick, then who's going to be there for my family? Like that's a, like self-care, it's important, but that's like, it's really important to, prioritize that, right? But so how, like again, changing how it's gonna look. We have one car, we don't have, we cash out stocks to be able to pay for, we actually put ourselves out there and asked for, we fundraised, so those are things that we had to do to help, you know. pay for his alternative treatments and blah, blah, blah. But everyone, wherever you are, you can be resourceful. You can like there's solutions, right? It's figure outable, as Marie Forleo would say. I totally believe that. Like really, and your beliefs, looking at your beliefs. I mean, I constantly prioritized investing in, a team of people to help me. Looking at my energy and my thoughts, and I don't know if does that answer it. How do you so because what matters to me, right, was for me to be the mom that I wanted to be and the person that was there for my family. So I had to let go of full-time work, you know,
Yeah.
and look at what was important for me. Yeah.
So I think what I hear you saying is that you have all of these loves and these passions, and especially when it comes to your work, like that was something that was fulfilling to you and that you enjoyed, and it was a way for you to just be Lynne.
Mm-hmm.
But you also recognized that there's only so much room on your plate, so to speak. So kind of taking a moment to reprioritize and say, where is it that I really want to spend my energy, and choosing, and it can be whatever for whomever, what the circumstances are, but choosing like, okay, I want to be there for my spouse and I really want to be there for my girls. And you know what? I really want to be there for me. And as much as my work is a part of me and is a way for me to express myself, you chose that you wanted to show up for you in a different way. So you just gave yourself that permission to step a little bit away from work, even though finances, I'm just assuming here, but it was probably really scary to let go of full-time work when you know that you've got 2 kids to support and a husband who is sick with compounding medical bills. But you decided that your energy was more sacred and that needed to happen first. And so you just chose to simplify in the way of not letting your fear hold you back from really getting back to the core and caring for who it is that you are. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, totally. Because I knew that I needed, as to be a good mom, like a engaged, loving mom and spouse, and then a therapist. I needed to really take that time to heal myself. Yeah, heal thyself, right? So I created a bit of pocket, and then because I'm not necessarily wouldn't be fulfilled as a full-time stay-at-home mom, which is totally okay, and not working, and I don't necessarily love like I'm not capable to work full-time and then have my 2 kids, right? So I need the balance. So then I created my own practice, my own business, in order to like fit all that. Yeah, there's times where it goes up and down, but it's definitely I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it at all, right? So like it's totally doable.
I love that. I think what you're really saying here at the core of it is that we each, mother or not, but we this is the Mindful Mamas show, so
Yeah,
we do talk to mamas a lot, but mom or not, we really each do have the power to create our own sense of air quotes perfect, right?
yes,
And there
yes,
is no right or wrong. Be a
yes,
stay-at-home mom, be a full-time working mom, do a combination of the like whatever it is. Let go of the idea of what perfect is to other people and
yes.
just do you. I love that, Lynne. That is so fantastic. Thank you so much for being on this episode
Thank
of
you.
of letting go and the mindful mamas. Like it's such a blessing. I have chills. Thank you for sharing your really, intimate story. And I know we only just scratched the surface of it today. So for the listeners and the viewers out there, where can they go to find out more about how to simplify their life and find out more about what it is that you do and what you can offer?
Cool. So yeah, I'm at Lynne Newman, Lynnne, Newman.com. And then I also have a free Simplicity Parenting Circle on Facebook. So it's pretty nice. And we talk about simplifying, like, yeah, it's great. Come in, join. I have my website, that group. And I'm also going to be working on the gray mothering because it's not black and white. Exactly what you just said. There is no right or wrong, and there's a million and one ways to heal and to live and to parent, and yeah, so that's going to come up too soon. So
Oh,
just to my website.
yes, I'm excited about that gray mothering because it's not black and white. So head to lynnenewman.com and probably join your email list there so we can get the latest updates on when that's going to be rolling out. And Facebook, how great is Facebook? Did you say simple parenting or simplistic?
Simplicity Parenting Circle.
Sorry, I messed it. Head
Yeah.
there because, yeah, it's a phenomenal support group and it's totally free to just really go out there and like voice your truth and have other mindful mamas there to love on you and be there to support you as well on your journey. So beautiful. Thank you again, Lynn.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.